involved with. It's also Canada. I think there's Ireland. Somewhere, my brain's obviously not working. So, but I think it's a very good cause. And if you are able, please donate. Because there's lots of people that need help right now with all that. Moving on. Track 2 from the game. That I used to sing in another, almost seems like another life ago, whenever we used to do this song with the Queen Extravaganza. So here we go. Gotta be Freddy. Take me to the room where the red's all red. Take me out of my head, is what I say. Yeah. Ow. Take me to the room where the green's all green. And from what I've seen, it's a hot, it's a mean. Hey. Forgot the words. Gotta use my stag. Gotta be Mac. Gotta get me on a track. Got a dragon on my back, yeah. Take me to the room where the beat's all round. Gotta eat that sound, yeah, 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 yeah. Take me to the room where the black's all white and the white's all black. Take me back to the shack, yeah. Don't take no prisoners. She's gotta give me the business. Got a dragon on my back. Hey, it's a dragon attack. Oh, yeah. Too many words. All right. For those of you that saw the earlier stream, I think you probably know what's coming up now. But if you don't, if you're catching this for the first time, I decided that doing another One Bites the Dust without a bassist is kind of dumb. So I enlisted the help of my good pal, and hopefully you can see it, and it's not looking like you're going to be able to, so let me dispense of this music stand real quick and pull this over. There we go. That's better. Ding. Oh. So I enlisted the help of my favorite person from Manchester, England, who is also part of the rhythm section with me and the Queen and Adam Lambert boys. gentlemen. As soon as I find my pick. What happened? There it is. All the way from Manchester, England, via this amazing thing we have called the internet. Mr. Neil Fairclough, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Tyler.
Hey. Hey. Ooh, let's go! Steve walks wearily down the street with the brim pulled way down low. Ain't no sound but the sound of his feet. Machine guns ready to go. Are you ready? Hey, are you ready for this? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? Out of the doorway and the bullets rip to the sound of the beats, yeah! Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone, and another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust. How do you think I'm gonna get along without you when you're gone? You took me for everything that I had and kicked me out of my home. Oh yeah, babe, are you satisfied? How long you can stand the heat? Well, out of the doorway, the bullets ripple to the sound of the beat. Lay out. Another one bite the dust. Another one bite the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bite the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bite the dust. Hey, oh, dang it. Bite the dust. Bite the dust. Hey. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Ow. Another one bites the dust. Hey, hey. Another one bites the dust. Hey. Ooh, shoot out. There's many ways that you can hurt a man and bring him to the ground. You can beat him, make it treat him bad, believe me when he's down. Hey, but I'm ready. It's ready for you. I'm standing on my own defeat. Out of the doorway, the bullets rip, repeating to the sound of beats. Whoa, another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone, and another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust. Shoot out. Hey. All right. Woo. All right. Neil Fairclough, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you just tuning in, doing Queen's 1980 album, The Game, front to back. And we just finished track 3 from that record, which probably none of you have ever heard before. Everybody doing good out there? See what's happening. You were 8 in 1980. I was -6. Yeah. Hope you all are doing well out there. All right. So track number 4 is another John Deacon song. And it was always one of my faves, and I think think I said this on the other stream too, that on the last Queen Extravaganza tour that I did, I convinced everybody to do this song for the last couple shows. Mainly just because I like it. So, here's a song by John called Need Your Lovin' Tonight. Hey, hey, hey! No, I'll never look back in anger. No, I'll never find me an answer. You promised me you keep in touch. I read your letter and it hurt me so much. I said I'll never be angry with you. And I don't wanna feel like a stranger, 'cause I'd rather stay out of danger. I read your letter so many times. I got your meaning between the lines. I said I'll never be angry with you. I must be strong, 'cause she won't know how much I miss her. I only hope as time goes on I'll forget her. My body's aching, can't sleep at night. I'm too exhausted to start a fight. And if I see you with another guy, I leave my heart out, 'cause I love her. Come on, baby, let's get together. I love you, baby, I love you forever. I'm trying hard to stay away. What made you change? What did I say? Ooh, I need your loving tonight. Ooh, I need your loving. Ooh, I need your loving. Ooh, I need your loving, babe, tonight. Hit me. Ooh, I need your loving tonight. No, I'll never look back in anger. No, I'll never find me an answer. Gave me no warning, how could I guess? I have to learn to forgive and forget. Ooh, I need your loving. Ooh, I need your loving. Ooh, I need your loving tonight. Woo! Just making sure my computer doesn't fall down. All right. Everybody doing good? All right. Hey, there's a familiar face. Ugh, there's no reason you should be awake this early on a Saturday, Julia. Ugh. It is Saturday, isn't it? Wait, we're doing Queen music, aren't we? All right, moving on to track number 5 from the game. And it's a song I'm sure nobody's ever heard before. Goes something like this. Listen, Carlo, I just can't handle it, this thing. Carlo, I must get round to it. I ain't ready. Crazy little thing, Carlo. But this thing, Carlo, make you cry in the cradle all night. It swings, it jives, shakes all over like a jellyfish. I kinda like it. Crazy little thing, Carlo. There goes my baby. She gives my heart cold fever. She leaves me in a cool, cool sweat. I gotta be cool, relax, get here, get on my tracks, take a back seat, hitchhike, take a longer ride on my motorbike until I'm ready. Crazy little thing I do. I gotta be cool, relax, get here, get on my tracks, take a back seat and hitchhike, take a longer ride on my motorbike until I'm ready. Crazy little thing I love. This thing I love, I just can't handle it. This thing I love, I must get round to it. I ain't ready. Crazy little thing I love. Crazy little thing I love. Crazy little thing I love. Hey mama. Crazy little thing I love. All right. Hey. Oh. Yeah, I think you guys all know the parts that you're supposed to sing along to. It looks like it in the texts, so that's cool. Cheers, everybody. For those keeping tabs, that's the end of side 1 or A or whatever it is on that record, and it's time to flip it over. And if you've been watching any of my stories this week, this next song is one that is really cool that my dad's band way back in the day used to play, and I posted a little tiny snippet of it in my stories earlier this week, so hopefully you got to see it because it's pretty rad. It's from like 81 or 82 or something like that video is. But yeah, this is a Roger Taylor song, and it's always been one of my favorites. I've always just really dug it. And yeah, let's just get into it, why don't we? When I hear that rock and roll, it gets down to my soul. When it's real rock and roll, oh rock and roll. When I hear that rock and roll, it gets down to my soul. When it's real rock and roll, oh rock and roll. Coming suit and come along with me. Say, come on, little woman, little rock with me. You say, yeah. What do you do to get the feeling light? You go downtown, get some of that prime jive. I said, mama, I ain't crazy. Alright, alright. Hey, come on, baby, said it's alright to rock and roll on a Saturday night. Say, shake and get your suit, come along with me. Say, come on, little one, gonna rock with me. I say, yeah, we gonna rock it. Hey, come on, baby, said it's alright to rock and roll on a Saturday night. Say, shake and get your suit and come along with me. Say, come on, little woman, rock with me. I say, yeah, we're gonna rock it tonight. We want some prime jive. 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 Come on, honey. Oh, gonna rock it tonight. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, rock it tonight. Get, 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 get some of that prime jive. Get some of that prime jive. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, honey. Get some of that prime jive. Get some of that, get down. Come on, honey. Come on, honey. We gonna rock it tonight. Woo! Straight hair. Oh man. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Whoops. So for this next tune, it actually wasn't planned, but whenever I asked Neil to send me a video of Another One Bites the Dust, little did I know he was going to send me one of this one as well. So, all y'all, I've got Neil to thank for making this such an awesome thing. Like I told him earlier after I finished the first stream, he's what made this cool. So cheers, Neil. All right. So this is maybe a slightly controversial one lyrically, but I think it's all in good fun. And I mean, it is a good message. It's just put rather bluntly, as Freddie tended to do, I think. So, all right. This is track 7 from the game, I think. Yeah, 7. And with the help from Neil, this is Don't Try Suicide. Yeah. Okay. Don't do it. Don't you try, baby, don't do that. Don't do that. You got a good thing going, baby, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't try suicide, nobody's worth it. Don't try suicide, nobody cares. Don't try suicide, you're just gonna hate it. Don't try suicide, nobody gives a damn. So you think it's the this time. Baby, when you do it, all you do is get on my tits. Don't do that. Try, baby. Don't do that. You got a good thing going now. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't try suicide. Nobody's worth it. Don't try suicide. Nobody cares. Don't try suicide. You're just gonna hate it. Don't try suicide. Nobody gives a damn. You need help. Look at yourself. You need help. You need light. So don't hurt yourself. It's okay. You just can't be a prick teaser all of the time.
A little bit of tension,
You got it.
need some affection.
You got it here.
Suicide, suicide, suicide bed. Suicide, suicide, suicide bed. Suicide.
Yeah.
Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, babe.
Yeah.
Don't do it, don't do it, don't.
Do it. Hey. Yeah. Don't put your neck on a line. Don't drown on me, babe. Blow your brains out. Don't do that. No. Don't do that. Got a good thing going, baby. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't try suicide. Nobody's worth it. Don't try suicide. Nobody cares. Don't try suicide. You're just gonna hate it. Don't try suicide. Nobody cares. Nobody gives. Nobody gives a damn. Okay. All right. Bye-bye, Neil. Yeah, and I'm not joking. Neil's definitely the MVP for this whole thing. How's everybody doing out there?
Get a little closer.
Isn't it, though? Everybody doing okay? Hanging in there? I know they're starting to lift a couple of the lockdown things over here. I'm not really sure if it's the same worldwide. I'm sure everybody's different. And I'm not really sure how I feel about stuff opening up just yet. But nothing I can do about it. But 'tis what it is. You're very welcome. Thank you all so much. That's really cool. All right. What say we move on? So the next track from the game is a song written and sung by Brian May. There's lots of good tracks on this album. That's kind of the reason I chose to do it. But also because of all the Queen records to decide to do something like this on a live stream, it's probably the easiest just because this is sort of them stripped down a little bit, so to speak. I know they always say that News of the World was supposed to be that way. And in a lot of cases it is, but I've always thought of this as being their stripped back album and back to basics and real concise and short songs and things like that. But yeah, there's always exceptions, of course. Anyways, this is the 8th track from the game, written and sung by Brian May, called Sail Away, Sweet Sister. Hey little baby, you're changing. Babe, are you feeling so? It ain't no use in pretending you don't wanna play no more. Just playing at your window, baby. What would your mother say? You're all dressed up like a lady. How come you behave this way? Yeah. Sail away, sweet sister. Sail across the sea. Maybe you'll find somebody to love you half as much as me. My heart is always with you, no matter what you do. Sail away, sweet sister. I'll always be in love with you. Forgive me for what I told you. My heart makes a fool of me. And you know I'll never hold you. You know that you gotta be free, yeah. Sail away, sweet sister. Sail across the sea. Maybe you'll find somebody to love you half as much as me. Take it the way you want it. When they let you down, my friend. Sail away, sweet sister. Back to my arms again. Hot child, don't you know you're young and got your whole life ahead of you. You can throw it away too soon. Way too soon. Hey. Sail away, sweet sister. Sail across the sea. Maybe you'll find somebody that'll love you half as much as me. Yeah. Heart is always with you, no matter what you do. Sail away, sweet sister. I'll always be in love with you. Ooh. Always loved that song. Oh, where's that doggone pick? Oh, man. Another thing about this record, especially as a singer, things started to change a little bit vocally with Freddie. Notably, singing much higher notes at full voice and the whole gravel thing. It's like a switch flipped after jazz, and man, it's a tough sing, but as if that's a surprise to anybody. Freddie was pretty great, right? He was the best. Who are we kidding? All right, moving on to track 9. Number 9. Another one written by Roger Taylor. And I think he kind of embraced what was happening musically at the time, because between this one and Prime Jive, they both definitely had a bit of a tinge of new wave about them. But it's cool, you know? I mean, that's what makes music great, being able to try new things and not repeat the same formula over and over. And we all know that Queen were different from album to album. And they were the best at that. I always loved listening to the records as a kid because you never really, especially if you'd never heard them before, you never really knew what you were going to get. Especially listening to an album front to back by Queen, no one song was never going to sound the same as the one coming after it. And that was one of the biggest takeaways as a youngin', growing up listening to music and figuring out what I liked and what I didn't like. And they were definitely the best at that as far as I'm concerned. All right, so moving on to track 9 by Roger Taylor. This is Coming Soon. Crazy nights, ooh, ooh, like some mother-in-law and her nylon tights. They're always coming soon, coming soon on the outside of the tracks. The same old babies with the same old toys. The neighbors screaming, but the noise and noise. Ooh, ooh. Somebody nagged you when you're out with the boys. They're always coming soon. Coming soon on the outside of the train. Watch me now. Speaking of those Freddie vocals, God. All right. Everybody doing good? I hope so. Oh. And just like that, we've come to the last track of the album. And like I said on the first stream I did earlier today, I'm not sure how big of a hit this was in the States. I know it was a single. But elsewhere around the world, I'm pretty sure it was pretty big. So I think you're going to know it. That's the other thing about this record. It's just it's packed with hits. More so than, I would say more so than any of them. And I don't just mean like songs that were singles. I mean songs that were massive, you know. I mean, Play the Game, Bites the Dust, Crazy Little Thing, and this one. I remember the first time I heard this album, it was, it was probably 7. I remember at that point I was already getting most of the Queen records on cassettes. If you guys remember what those are, in the early '90s, and here in the States they had just started re-releasing everything, and I remember we were going. It must have been summertime because we were going to a family reunion somewhere, and I can't remember exactly where it was. I know it was on my dad's side. And Mom and Dad had just gotten this tape. And of course, they had the album whenever they were younger, but they had just rebought it on cassette because neither one of them had it anymore on record. And obviously, I knew the big hits because they're on the Red Greatest Hits. And who doesn't know Crazy Little Thing and Bites the Dust? But I remember they had that tape. I don't know why I remember why this memory's in the back of my head, and I always remember it. But it was a family reunion. It was underneath one of those like picnic areas with an awning, and it was outdoors. It was sunny, so it must have been summertime. And I remember riding in the Jeep, and they had this cassette tape. And yeah. Obviously, as with every other Queen record, it left an impression. So, yeah. And that album, in a few short months, is going to be 40 years old. How wild is that? I think it can apply with albums too. That age is just a number. Ugh. It's so strange that now that we're in 2020, now the 80s are so far away now. Oh well. All right. Here we go. It started off so well. You said we made a perfect pair. I clothed myself in your glory, and you loved how I loved you, how I cried. The years of care and loyalty were nothing but a shame, it seems. The years be lie, we lived the lie. I love you till I die. Save me, save me, save me. I can't face this life alone. Save me, save me, save me. I'm naked and I'm far from home. The slate will soon be clean. I'll erase the memories to start again with somebody new. Was it all wasted, all that love? I hang my head and I advertise a soul for sale or rent. I have no heart, I'm cold inside. I have no real intent. Save me, save me, save me. I can't face this life alone. Save me, save me. Each night I cry and still believe the lie. I love you till I die. Save me, save me, save me, yeah. Save me, yeah. Oh, save me. Don't let me face my life alone. Save me, save me. Oh, I'm naked and I'm far from home. All right. Thank you all so much for sticking around for that. And thanks for enduring this little surprise take two, I guess you could say, or encore performance, I should say. All right. I don't know how much time we have left, but how's everybody doing? Everybody hanging in there? Thank you guys very much. Kim, you're still here. Or not still here, but I guess you know what I mean. Or I guess I should be saying, what are you still doing up? Thank you so much. Uh-oh. I missed what she said. Oh, there it is. Well, hopefully it's the best way. At least I didn't screw up near as bad on Save Me as I did the first time around. So you missed that, Julia. Thank God. Still didn't quite get it all the way, but I'm going to blame having that acoustic in my lap. Oh, God. And I get to say it again. What are you doing up, Thomas? Oh, next time on tour. Yeah, I guess we would actually be approaching the summer tour under the normal circumstances. But yeah, I actually saw a post from our monitor engineer Ben today saying that well, first off, it's May, and saying that normally he'd be getting ready to go start teching and getting things ready for that European tour. So we're already feeling it. I'm sure it'll become a lot more real whenever we get to the end of this month, whenever we were supposed to have our first show. And is the first show Italy? I forget. Or was it, I suppose? I think it was. Yeah, because it was. But it's just like you just said now. It'll happen. Especially for those of you that are like me and getting on up there. It'll be May 2021 before we all know it. The live tour. It's turning into that, isn't it? But I'm running out of creative places to do these things. But maybe next time this won't be here. I felt like piano is kind of unavoidable for doing a Queen album. Oh, I'd love to come back to Japan. Oh, hopefully one of these days. You know that earlier this year was my very first time coming to Japan. And it was everything that I could have hoped it would have been. So before I get cut off here, please, if you haven't already, and if you can, please donate what you can to, no matter how small it may be, to the Mental Health Fund, which they have an Instagram page under the name of Crisis Hotline. And like I said, they're looking out for people who might be having a hard time because of the lockdown and because of the virus and everything. And I think that's particularly important. And thanks to Sue for enlightening me about that charity, because I think it's a good one. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. And living room, well, we'll see. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.